That's no hydroxyline.
That's my wife.
That's my wife. I know you're too young and stupid to get it, Dee, but I thought it was hysterical. We laughed for hours and then we had martinis.
Thank you guys for that.
You're awesome, Jonathan.
Thank you. Let's have another round of applause. That's unfortunately our...
So she was very smart.
Yes.
Oh, that was my sister. My sister probably was always the real Dexter because she was always the one who was like, all right, I'm gonna make sure he's the one getting, oh, that's better.
Escalate the situation.
But yeah, as the one with the computer in the household and all that stuff, and yeah, that was a good time. Now, when did you know you wanted to do voices?
I will tell you that when I first got in, let me, if anybody has heard this, I'll make it very quick. I did not want to do them, and I was singing and doing stand-up at a wake. Yeah, okay. My agent passed away, and his parents buried him right away, and so we didn't have a chance to honor him, so we had this great party, and I sang and did stand-up, and a woman walked up to me and said, Erin would want me to help you. And I looked at her card, and it said William Morris, and I was like, oh, ooh. And it said voiceover and commercials, and I went, ooh, and ripped it up. And the next day, she found me in the white pages, and called me up and said, you were supposed to call me this morning and you didn't call me this morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, I meant to. And she said, I see that you live down a few streets. Why don't you walk down? And I said, oh, well, I'll try to get, and she said, if you don't walk down, I'm gonna walk to you. And I thought, wow, she must see something. And I went down and they put me in the booth to try me out, and I ended up booking. And I got a call back for Steven Spielberg's Tiny Toon Adventures. And it was Steven Spielberg Presents Tiny Toon Adventures. This was like 86 or 87. And I got a call back. And then I remember going to the audition that I didn't want to be there, didn't want to do it, didn't want to be there, and dressed for it inappropriately, a ball gown that I got from Iguana, a used ball gown, and army boots, and they liked me, and I did it, and I found home. I found a bunch of people who were super creative with what they had, and it was like a kind of a magical room. Everybody was good. They were doing voices that I knew, but as little kids, they were doing all the Looney Tunes, and it was really fun. But no, I wanted to sing rock and roll. I never wanted to do it. And then once I got the check, I was like, that's when I really first realized that I wanted to do cartoons. It was when they paid me, and I thought, oh my God, am I gonna get this every week? Can I stop teaching aerobics? Oh, yes, I'm in. Call me. How about you? You have a great story.
Well, the voiceover part, I think, I was in theater school. I think you probably did theater school too, but I was still in college when I started the DTV. For some of you were any of you here yesterday for the panel? So you probably heard parts of the story, so you have to hear it again. But voiceover, I never really thought about it that much. I guess I was still just trying to do theater and be that kind of an actress. And so, of course, when the role came up through my friends in college, the Candi, and Craig McCracken also, they was in the same class. So there was the Powerpuff Girls came out of that, Dexter's Lab, but we didn't know that they were gonna be big shows yet. They were just like student films. Like, they weren't even films, they were like scratchy black and white little flip book type things that the animators would make. But I got to do a voice for it, and a couple years later, I was still in college, but those guys had gone on and started to make their careers in the field, and I got asked back to audition for the role, and then it became Dexter's Lab, which was a huge hit, and I couldn't believe it, little old me, you know? Because I'm the kind of person that thinks everybody else is always better, you know? I don't know if some of you guys feel like, what am I doing here? Those people know what they're doing, I don't know. And I still have a little bit of that.
You shouldn't, you were so good and so natural. It was like, it was as if he wrote it specifically for you, and that's what how good of an actor you are, that you
Aw,
made it
thank
seem
you.
like he
Thank
wrote
you.
those lines for you.
Aw,
You
well,
are a good actor.
Thank you. Well, I realize, I think I am a good, but I think I admire
Yes.
other actors. They're always someone to look up to, you know? So being in the booth with those people when I was brand new, like Jeff Bennett and
Oh my
stuff, I was
gosh.
like, and they'd just go on and I'd be like, what am I doing here? I'm here to learn. You're amazing.
And then Kath Soucie is
Oh, so amazing. And so I really kind of grew up with the best people. I just got thrown into it, and I'm really blessed. But that's what's so fun about being here and getting to see all the actors again. That
Yeah.
we still like have that appreciation for each other all these years later.
Yeah, we walk over to their booths to see what they've done.
And we're
we-
still a little bit like, wow, you're so good.
Yeah, and this is so cool, and how did
Yeah.
you land that? And this
Yeah.
is so great, because one of the things that I don't know if you know, but it doesn't matter who you are, you can't get a job unless you audition.
Yeah.
There's nobody calling you and going, we need Candi for that.
You wish it was that way.
Yeah,
but-
you do, but it isn't. And even my loves, Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson, they audition. Bill Farmer auditions. Now, if you are a legend voice for Disney, you have the job, you just need the project. But, you know, there is no, we are still in the booth. And I always tell new voice actors, if this is something you want to do, if I'm auditioning that, and they know where to find me, that means they're actually looking for you. You know, they know where to find me. They could call and go, we're just gonna have
Like that
Candi
lady
do
that you first met.
Yeah.
Found you.
Yeah, and I was like, they're looking for you. And I always say the audition room is the great equalizer. Those of us who have more experience simply do it faster. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can go in and it's not gonna take me 30 minutes to lay down 4 or 5 characters. I usually do characters that's a great voice and they didn't hire me for that. I'm gonna use it right here. And then we're basically reading in our natural language. And for me, I do all my work before I sit down in my closet, where I keep my winter clothes, AKA my booth. And I, right?
Like right
Where I
now.
keep my winter clothes. And I think that's the only difference I see between a solid career is making what goes into the MP3 that you send back to agents sing better than the MP3 that I send back to my agents. And sometimes it doesn't have to be better, it just has to be so different and that you catch somebody's attention. That's what a callback is, to find out how deep that talent runs. And can you do this and can you do that? Can you take direction? Can you hear no and not lose it? And can you corroborate, and can you do it the same thing over and over and over again without having to change your voice and find it again? And it is just, it really truly is time.
Practice makes progress.
It does. Practice makes progress. It just it really does. And I think that's the secret to it. And when somebody gets very, oh, well, if you're auditioning, how can I compete? I've booked jobs that they didn't know if they were going to go male or female, and I know that Rob or somebody has read on it, and I just think my jobs are my jobs, your jobs are your jobs. We're not in competition whatsoever with anybody. We're in a room with coats. We're in a room with coats, screaming into a microphone like idiots. And it's like, that's what I do for a living, and then I have a snack and lie down.
See, I've heard from another actor that the real job of an actor is auditioning, and then the job is the vacation.
Oh yeah, I can agree
Absolutely.
with that. Well,
But-
I can speak to that, and this is I don't know if any of you guys have ADHD. Probably a few of you, and
Yeah.
this is kind of going back to the thing. For some of us, auditioning is really hard because of rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And so I was an actress, and I was scared to audition for my own voice that I'd already created. I think about that now and go, oh, what was I thinking? But you know how the brain does its thing. You grow out of these things, and now I understand what was going on. But I put that out there for those of you that do want to get into acting, who struggle with this. Like, look into it, read about it. It's a thing. It's a
It
thing,
is.
and it's a thing in your brain that's going to keep doing it for the rest of your life until you can call it and go, that's just my brain. That is not reality. I could get that job. I might not be rejected, you know? So a lot of times we don't really put our beautiful voices and our talent and our art into the world, and the world needs expression, you know? It needs goodness and joy that your voices can bring. So just telling from my point of view, that's something I'm actually thinking about getting back into voiceover now.
Yay!
I talked to somebody earlier, and I got to learn how to it's been a long time, but I really had that, and I only got a diagnosis a couple of years ago, and I saw that, and I was like, if I had only known that, I don't know if I would have been a different life, but I wish I had known that, but I know it now, and I can start over again without being scared. So I just wanted to say that for any of you that get nervous about auditioning. It is scary, but a lot of times it's just your brain telling you that it's not going to work out.
You know, can I yes and that? So I was on Pig Goat Banana Cricket, and I was talking to somebody, told him kind of how I grew up, and said I wrote a book, and then I didn't get great feedback. And it was Tom Lenk who turned to me and said, so somebody hurt your feelings and you stopped writing? And I said, yeah, that is what happened. He said, how long ago was that? And I was so humiliated. I said, 8 years ago. And he said, oh, time to pick up a pen. And I just published a book. Because I
really poured her heart out in that one too.
I want you to know that that's what it was where I went, but he said it so succinctly. Oh, somebody hurt your feelings and you gave up.
Yeah.
And I thought, they didn't even hurt my feelings. They rejected the book. And so it was my life story. So I went down that whole thing, and I wish that I had Tom 10 years earlier say, oh, you got, and so now when I don't get something that I was like, oh, I did such a good job on that, I never ask who got it. I never ask why I didn't get it. I just say, oh, and by the way, Candi, your feelings are hurt right now. Go have a cookie and lay down.
And it happens to all actors. We get our feelings hurt. And even the people that are really, sometimes the one that seems so calm really is going to take your gift further, I think.
Yeah, and I think I've been said, if I'm in a bad mood, somebody will send it back from my agency and go, hey, can you warm this up? Do you know what that means? Put a smile in your voice.
Oh, I love that.
And so as a voice actor, something that I do that I'm happy to share is I never get in the booth and do any work. I don't mark it up. I don't read it in the booth. I read everything 10 times, and I mean everything. I can tell you what the page number is. I can tell you everything on the page. I read everybody's lines 10 times, then I voice it 3 times through so I'm not fumbling, get it set, write any ad libs, try to figure out if they will work in or if they're added, and then I just go and I have fun. I push play and I'm like, it is Candi Milo, and I'm here to have fun and book. And I know people who go in and they're like, I'm in there for hours, and I thought, oh, that should be your happy place. That shouldn't be your work desk. That should be your happy place where you just go in and show them what you just worked on for 5 hours in front of your TV while watching The Crown. I'm just saying.
What do you think of like practicing? Like, I was just thinking while you're talking, like, what about people that like, you know, have you ever gone to libraries and there's somebody reading to the kids?
Yeah.
That would be a great thing to practice.
That
a bunch
is
of different
really,
voices.
that is really important. It's when I
go home and record them.
Yeah, when I speak to little kids and they younger actors or younger people that want to be actors, and they'll say, what do you do? And I said, oh my gosh, I read to my daughter every night. I remember reading Harry Potter in all the voices, right? I remember reading that to her, and she's 35 now, and she was like 7 or 8 when they came out, and I remember reading, and one time she said to me, that's not the voice you did for Voldemort. And I was like, well, then you're only getting 1 chapter a night, because I'm exhausted, and I don't remember what I did for McGonagall. I don't remember these things. I'm just your mom reading to you. But it is so incredible because it loosens up your jaw, but it is really just reading, not into a microphone, you're reading past a microphone, you're reading into your script. It's where all your characters live, you don't look away, you keep your lips and your mouth close to the microphone so that the sound is even, and you read out loud in whatever your language is, for a living. That's what we do, and that is a brilliant idea. Go to the library and read to kids, practice.
See which ones they laugh at the most, and then go home and record that.
Right.
You have an instant checkup on that.
Yeah,
feedback.
and name them so that you know. I can't tell you at the beginning of my career when I did the teacher in Cow and Chicken. They, you're with somebody who talk like that, shut your pie holes. And it was somebody in my act, and her name was Juliet Fishberg Rosenstein Mann. And she was a kindergarten teacher, and every day was her last day of school. And so she would drink on the job. And that was the character that I created when they said, you know, the teacher, we don't know if she has a drinking problem. And I was like, I think I've got this one. I don't know. Maybe we'll try Juliet.
Deep in your memory, it came back.
And I think that my deal is that I name them. My deal is that I had done that live in a club act. And that's my practice. But I read every night to my daughter. I read, and I do think it keeps you sharp. Punctuation is a suggestion. It's not the end-all be-all. I always tell people who say they want to ad-lib, I always say you're not funnier than the writer, and the script already has the job. So you're there to make the script live, and I say if you want to switch it up, change the punctuation, make the period a comma, make the comma a period.
Yes.
Like jazz. Yes, it's like jazz. Change up the rhythm of the piece, and you change the complete meaning without changing the words.
True.
And that is really important when the words are something that the animator has written. They've put their heart and soul into it, and they want to hear their stuff, you know?
And I've noticed also there's also different styles of acting too. Like I personally am the kind of person who likes to create a new character, like a new voice that I don't know. I'm not so great at being a mimic of other voices. You're good at both. And I can't, I don't know, I don't have the ear for that. Not to say I'm not talented, it's just different. So once I knew that about myself, I focused on like creating the new thing instead of trying to sound like other people. Some people can sound like impersonators, you know?
Right.
And there's a place for both.
There is, and I think that when I see young people saying, for a while there was a guy that was making demos called Demos That Rock, and it was 2 minutes of snippets. And I once was on a panel with the great Andrea Romano, who's an amazing casting director, and she said, if you can read the phone book for 15 seconds in one voice, I will book you. And she said, do a demo with 4 voices on it, 15 seconds per voice, very different. And 15 seconds is a long time. It's very different than do. And I was like, because Dan Castellaneta is alive. He is working, he is actually still doing that character. And I love that you are creating brand new characters, because you are bringing those parts of your brain, Allison, where they live. And you're bringing parts of your personality to life, which I think is important.
That's what was so funny about, as I only really did, you know me from DD, and then I wasn't in the field for a long time, so that is like the one character. But the older I get, the more I realize I was DD. I am DD. I am a spaz. I do have ADHD, and I have so much fun. And I get around you guys, and I get all excited, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I thought I was making something up out of thin air.
No, you were, honey.
It was me the whole time.
It was you the whole time.
I'm the grown-up DD.
And I will say that I worked with both Allison and Kat, and there is immense joy in imitation. And then there's something about the real thing. And to me, you are always the real thing, Allison. And everything about you is authentic. And when I see somebody that is inauthentic, they make me very nervous. And I always wonder, what are you hiding? Why are you behaving? That's a little performative. I'm going to walk the other
I think we all
way.
feel that way a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that you getting back into it and speaking to people that know you, I think it's absolutely amazing. And as we get older, we have had so many experiences that you read a script that is different than a 20-year-old reading a script, because we get a few more jokes, we get a few less
or you
jokes.
forget, or you're not as in touch.
Right, and if somebody says 6'7" to me one more time, skibbity-doo, I'm gonna skibbity-doo your ass right into tomorrow. 6'7". I'm just like, I'm gonna look it up, and I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but there is an old lady that's trying to get people to go to a museum in England, and all she gets on and she's like, "Hey fam," and this old white lady with like white hair, it's like, "Hey fam, skibbity-doo 6'7", we got this artist right here." She does the whole thing and speak. They have had more group of 7th graders go to this damn museum to see if she is actually there. And I'm like, I don't have time. I need to online shop. So just write the script and I'll say it like I know what I'm talking about. But half the time I'm like, I'm old. I'm just so old.
But you know what? She'd be a lot older if she were not a voice actor.
True.
Because there's a lot of little kids inside her.
I know. I always think when I hear ADHD, and I'm like, man, hold my beer. I think I have something a little more powerful. Because I was always like, I was like on the edge of my seat the entire time. Like I remember writing and being in school and writing, and it was like I had one foot on the floor and the other one, and I was literally, my little bony butt was at the edge of the seat, and I was like, I have someplace to go, it's just that I don't know where it is.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna sit here right here and listen to you, but I'm gonna chat because I've already done my work and you're boring me. I'm gonna help her do her work so that we're not on the alphabet for another week.
Yeah.
I need to let's read some books, and I think that there's something kind of beautiful about that vibe when you get into a booth, because I don't have any fear, because I'm looking around, there are kids, because I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I don't care if you like me, and I don't care if anybody doesn't, and that took me a really long time. I used to try and fit in, but I had an overbite and a unibrow, and it was very difficult for me to fit in. And so when I stopped caring, that's when all the voices came, when I didn't care what anybody thought. It really was a gift to myself. To myself, let go.
Oh, amazing. Can we get another round of applause? Because that is inspiring.
Allison is inspiring.
You both are inspiring. You both are inspiring. But
And you guys are inspiring too. You inspire me.
Yeah, yeah. Why
You do.
Yeah, we come to these things to see you.
Yeah.
And to be around you and hang around you, and it is,
It's wonderful.
yeah, it's uplifting and it's wonderful. And sometimes I go home and my daughter is in her 30s now, and I'll get off the plane. She was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm great. How was it?" It was freaking great. It was wonderful. Everybody was in costume. Everybody is so nice.
A lot of love.
A lot of love.
In these communities, you know, and
Acceptance.
And I've gotten so many great hugs. I just feel so fulfilled. And I got to give them too, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
now, speaking about getting lovely voices out into the world, we have a little bit of time for a few brief questions from our audience.
Yay.